The minivan rumbled down the dusty path, its tires kicking up small clouds of dirt that swirled in the air behind it. The road was narrow and winding, flanked on both sides by towering trees that seemed to stretch endlessly into the sky. The leaves rustled gently in the breeze, creating a soothing symphony of nature's sounds. The family had been planning this camping trip for months, and the anticipation had been building with each passing day. Sunlight dappling through the trees created a magical effect, casting playful shadows on the forest floor. The beams of light pierced through the dense canopy, illuminating patches of vibrant green moss and fallen leaves. It was as if the forest was welcoming them with open arms, inviting them to explore its hidden wonders. Inside, 10-year-old Billy bounced in his seat with excitement. His eyes were wide with wonder as he took in the sights around him. He had been dreaming about this trip for as long as he could remember, and now it was finally happening. The thought of sleeping under the stars, roasting marshmallows over a campfire, and discovering new adventures filled him with pure joy. Camping. He'd been waiting for this trip all summer. Every day after school, he would ask his parents how many more days until they left. He had even packed his own backpack with all the essentials: a flashlight, a compass, a pocket knife, and his favorite book about wilderness survival. He was ready for anything. Billy's parents talked about setting up camp. They discussed the best spot to pitch the tent, where to gather firewood, and the safest place to store their food to keep it away from curious animals. They had been camping many times before, but this trip felt special. It was a chance to bond as a family and create memories that would last a lifetime. Billy didn't listen. He wanted to explore. His mind was already racing with thoughts of the adventures that awaited him. He imagined himself as a brave explorer, venturing into uncharted territory and discovering hidden treasures. The forest was a vast, mysterious place, and he couldn't wait to uncover its secrets. The forest seemed huge and mysterious. The trees stood like ancient guardians, their branches intertwining to form a natural cathedral. The air was filled with the earthy scent of pine and the distant calls of birds. It was a place of wonder and enchantment where anything seemed possible. He couldn't wait to see what treasures it held. Maybe he would find a hidden stream with crystal clear water, or a secret cave filled with ancient artifacts. The possibilities were endless, and his imagination ran wild with excitement. He felt like a true adventurer, ready to embark on the journey of a lifetime. "Stay close, Billy!" his mum called out. Her voice was filled with a mix of caution and love. She knew how much this trip meant to him, but she also wanted to keep him safe. The forest could be unpredictable, and she didn't want him to wander too far. Billy nodded, already edging towards the trees. His heart was pounding with excitement, and he could barely contain his enthusiasm. He promised himself that he would stay within sight of his parents, but the allure of the forest was too strong to resist. He promised he would stay close, but the forest was just too tempting. The shadows seemed to dance and beckon him forward, whispering secrets of adventures yet to come. With a final glance back at his parents, he took a deep breath and stepped into the dense woods, ready to begin his camping adventure. Giant pines towered overhead, their branches forming a leafy canopy. Sunbeams slanted through, painting the forest floor with light and shadow. Billy followed a deer path, eager to see where it led. He pretended he was an explorer, discovering a lost world. He imagined friendly woodland creatures peeking at him from behind the trees. Time flew by. Suddenly Billy stopped. He realized he didn't recognize anything around him. The path had disappeared. He was lost. Miles away, at a campsite nestled beside a sparkling stream, the air was filled with the soothing sounds of nature. Birds chirped melodiously, and the gentle rustling of leaves created a serene atmosphere. The campsite was a haven of tranquility, a perfect escape from the hustle and bustle of daily life. Amidst this peaceful setting, a red-gold dog lifted her head. Her ears perked up, and her eyes scanned the surroundings with a sense of purpose. Kenley, a beautiful golden retriever, sniffed the air. Her nose twitched as she caught a scent that was out of place. She had an extraordinary ability to detect even the faintest of smells, a skill that had proven invaluable on numerous occasions. She whined softly, her keen ears twitching. The sound was almost imperceptible, but it conveyed a sense of urgency. Kenley was not just any dog. She was a trained search and rescue canine, always ready to spring into action. Kenley was a special dog. Her training had been rigorous, and her dedication was unwavering. She had been involved in countless rescue missions, each one more challenging than the last. Her bond with her owner, a park ranger, was unbreakable. She had an incredible sense of smell and an even bigger heart. Her ability to track scents over long distances was nothing short of remarkable, but it was her compassion and determination that truly set her apart. She loved people and always wanted to help. Whether it was finding a lost hiker or comforting a distressed child, Kenley was always there, her tail wagging and her eyes full of empathy. Right now she smelled trouble. The scent was faint but unmistakable. It was the scent of fear and desperation. Kenley's instincts kicked in and she knew she had to act fast. "What is it, girl?" her owner, a park ranger, asked, noticing Kenley's restlessness. He had learned to trust her instincts implicitly. Whenever Kenley sensed something was wrong, it usually was. Kenley barked once, a sharp, insistent sound. It was her way of signaling that she had picked up a trail. The park ranger immediately understood and prepared to follow her lead. She had to find the lost boy. The scent trail was weak, but Kenley was determined. She dashed through the forest, her senses on high alert. Every second counted, and she knew that the boy's safety depended on her. With unwavering focus, Kenley led the way, her heart set on one goal: to bring the lost boy back to safety. Billy was scared. The woods seemed darker now, the shadows longer. He called for his parents, but only silence answered him. Tears welled up in his eyes. A twig snapped behind him. Billy spun around, his heart pounding. He was ready to run when he saw her. A large, beautiful dog with fur the color of a sunset stood a few feet away. Her tail wagged gently and her brown eyes held nothing but kindness. Section 5. Following Kenley's lead. Kenley took a step closer and nudged Billy's hand with her wet nose. The forest around them was dense, filled with the sounds of rustling leaves and distant bird calls. The air was crisp and cool, carrying the earthy scent of pine and moss. Billy, feeling a mix of fear and curiosity, looked down at Kenley. Her eyes were full of understanding and determination, as if she knew exactly what needed to be done. She whined again, as if to say, "Don't worry, I'll help you." Her soft whimper was more than just a sound. It was a promise of companionship and guidance. Billy felt a wave of reassurance wash over him. He had always known Kenley was special, but in this moment her loyalty and intelligence shone brighter than ever. The bond between them seemed almost magical, a silent communication that transcended words. Billy, instinctively knowing he could trust her, reached out and buried his hands in her thick fur. The warmth of her body and the softness of her fur provided a comfort that words could not. He took a deep breath, feeling the tension in his body begin to ease. Kenley stood still, allowing him to draw strength from her presence. It was as if she was saying, "I am here for you no matter what." Kenley turned and started walking, looking back at Billy as if to say, "Follow me." Her movements were confident and purposeful, each step taken with the assurance of someone who knew the way. Billy watched her for a moment, marveling at her grace and determination. He knew that following her was the right choice, even though the path ahead was uncertain. Billy hesitated for a moment, then followed. His mind raced with thoughts of what might lie ahead, but he pushed them aside, focusing instead on the steady rhythm of Kenley's steps. The forest seemed less intimidating with her leading the way. He felt a growing sense of trust and hope, believing that they would find their way out together. He had a feeling this amazing dog would lead him back to safety. As they walked, the bond between them grew stronger, each step a testament to their unbreakable connection. The forest, once a place of fear and uncertainty, now felt like a journey of trust and companionship. Billy knew that with Kenley by his side, they could face anything that came their way. Together, they would find their way home. Section 6. A glimmer of hope. They walked for what felt like hours. The forest was quiet except for the sound of their footsteps and the chirping of crickets. Just when Billy started to lose hope, he saw it. A light flickered through the trees ahead. It was a campfire. Billy's heart leaped. He ran towards the light, Kenley right beside him. Section 7. Reunited at last, Billy. His mum's voice was filled with relief. She rushed toward him, scooping him into a hug. His dad stood behind her, his face etched with worry, which quickly melted into a relieved smile. Billy was so happy to be back. He hugged his parents tight, never wanting to let go. He looked over at Kenley, who sat patiently watching the scene. Section 8. Kenley the hero. "This is Kenley!" a voice boomed. A park ranger stepped into the light, a proud smile on his face. He explained how Kenley had heard Billy's cries and insisted on leading him to safety. Billy's parents were overwhelmed with gratitude. They thanked the ranger and showered Kenley with affection. Billy threw his arms around Kenley's neck, burying his face in her soft fur. "You saved me, Kenley," he whispered. Section 9. A bond unbreakable. That night, safe in his sleeping bag, Billy couldn't stop thinking about his adventure. He had been lost and scared, but Kenley had found him. She had been so brave and gentle, a true hero. Billy knew he would never forget Kenley. He drifted off to sleep, the image of her kind eyes and gentle smile imprinted on his heart. He had made a friend for life.